Healthy relationships are built on a foundation of mutual respect, care, and responsibility. These qualities create a space where trust, understanding, and emotional safety can thrive. Both partners contribute equally, not necessarily in identical ways, but in ways that complement and support each other. This reciprocity ensures that each person feels valued and heard. However, when this balance is disrupted, when one person continuously gives while the other primarily takes, the relationship becomes imbalanced and unhealthy. Instead of love, such dynamics create a space for manipulation, neglect, and exploitation. Recognizing the warning signs of exploitation is vital to protecting one's emotional well-being and fostering healthier connections. When a man uses a woman, his actions may initially seem benign, but over time, they reveal patterns of behavior that prioritize his needs at the expense of hers. Below are the key behaviors that signal exploitation, expanded with full details, examples, and their impact. 1. Lack of genuine interest. Genuine interest is the cornerstone of emotional intimacy and connection. It involves a true curiosity about the other person's thoughts, feelings, and experiences, not just as a means to an end, but because the individual is valued for who they are. In a healthy relationship, both partners invest time and energy into understanding each other deeply. However, when a man lacks genuine interest, his involvement in the relationship is superficial, leaving the woman feeling unseen and undervalued. What does a lack of genuine interest look like? Superficial engagement. He might ask surface-level questions or seem engaged in the moment, but lacks a deeper curiosity about her inner world. For instance, he may inquire about her day, but doesn't follow up on significant events or delve into her emotions. Failure to remember details. Someone who truly cares remembers the little things, her favorite book, an upcoming event she's excited about, or a challenge she's facing. A man who lacks interest will often forget these details, demonstrating that her life is not a priority for him. Dismissive responses. When she shares something meaningful, his responses might be generic or dismissive. Instead of saying, "That's incredible, tell me more," he might reply with a flat, "That's nice," or change the subject entirely. Examples of subtle disinterest. If she shares a personal goal, like training for a marathon or starting a creative project, he doesn't ask follow-up questions or offer encouragement. Instead, he might shift the conversation to himself or give a perfunctory response. During conversations, he may appear distracted, checking his phone, giving one-word answers, or nodding without really listening. The impact on the relationship. This lack of genuine interest creates a one-sided dynamic where she invests emotionally while he remains detached. Over time, this imbalance can lead to feelings of loneliness, frustration, and emotional exhaustion. She may begin to question her worth, wondering why her partner doesn't seem to care about the things that matter to her. How it should look in a healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, both partners actively engage with each other's lives. They ask thoughtful questions, celebrate each other's successes, and provide support during difficult times. This mutual investment deepens trust and fosters emotional intimacy. 2. Manipulative compliments. Compliments are an important part of any relationship. They can uplift, validate, and strengthen emotional bonds. However, manipulative compliments are insincere and calculated. They are used not to express genuine appreciation, but to control, distract, or achieve a specific outcome. How manipulative compliments work: strategic timing. These compliments often appear during pivotal moments, such as after a disagreement before asking for a favor or to deflect from his own mistakes. For example, if she confronts him about a broken promise, he might respond with, "You're so understanding, that's why I love you," shifting the focus away from his accountability. Exaggeration and vagueness. Manipulative compliments are often overly dramatic or lack specificity. Phrases like, "You're the most amazing person I've ever met," sound flattering, but lack the depth and personal understanding of genuine praise. Playing on insecurities, he may target areas where she feels vulnerable, such as her appearance, intelligence, or work ethic, to deepen her reliance on his validation. For instance, if she's insecure about her looks, he might say, "You're so much prettier than anyone else," reinforcing her need for his approval. The emotional consequences. Over time, these compliments can create an emotional dependency where she begins to rely on his validation to feel valued. This dependency erodes her self-esteem, as her sense of worth becomes tied to his approval rather than her intrinsic qualities. It also creates an imbalance where she feels obligated to meet his expectations to maintain his praise. Examples of manipulative compliments. "You're so much better at handling stress than I am," subtly shifting the responsibility of managing conflict onto her. "I don't deserve someone as amazing as you," deflecting accountability for his actions by making her feel grateful for his presence. "You're the only person who really understands me," isolating her emotionally by implying no one else could meet his needs. 3. Avoidance of responsibility. Responsibility is a shared duty in any relationship, encompassing emotional support, practical contributions, and accountability for one's actions. A man who avoids responsibility consistently fails to fulfill these obligations, leaving his partner to carry the emotional and logistical weight of the relationship. Behaviors that indicate avoidance. Deflection of blame. When confronted about his actions, he shifts the blame onto her. For example, if he forgets an important anniversary, he might say, "You didn't remind me," instead of owning up to his mistake. Minimizing issues. He downplays her concerns or makes her feel like she's overreacting. For instance, if she voices frustration about his lack of effort, he might respond with, "It's not that big of a deal." Failure to follow through. He makes promises or commitments, but rarely fulfills them, leaving her to manage the consequences. For example, he might agree to help with a task but forget, forcing her to pick up the slack. The impact on the relationship. Avoidance of responsibility creates resentment and erodes trust. She may feel unsupported, undervalued, and overwhelmed by the unequal distribution of effort. Over time, this dynamic can lead to burnout and a loss of emotional connection. 4th, exploiting generosity. Generosity is a beautiful quality that strengthens relationships, but when exploited, it becomes a tool for one-sided gain. A man who exploits a woman's kindness takes advantage of her willingness to give without reciprocating or showing genuine appreciation. How exploitation manifests financial exploitation. He relies on her to cover expenses, fund his lifestyle, or bail him out of financial trouble without contributing or repaying her generosity. Emotional exploitation. He depends on her for constant emotional support, but is unavailable or dismissive when she needs the same. Taking her for granted. He expects her to always be there for him, whether it's running errands, providing comfort, or handling responsibilities, without acknowledging or valuing her efforts. The long-term impact. This dynamic leaves her feeling drained and unappreciated. Her efforts, once offered freely and lovingly, become obligations she resents. She may feel used and undervalued, questioning why her kindness is not reciprocated. 5. Emotional inconsistency. Consistency is crucial for building trust and emotional security in a relationship. Emotional inconsistency, where a man oscillates between affection and detachment, creates confusion and instability. Signs of emotional inconsistency: hot and cold behavior. He might be loving and attentive one day, only to become distant or indifferent the next. Mixed signals. His words and actions don't align. For example, he might say he loves her, but fail to show it through his behavior. Unpredictable availability. He might be emotionally available when it suits him, but disappear or withdraw when she needs him most. The emotional toll. This behavior creates an exhausting cycle of hope and disappointment. She may cling to the moments of warmth, excusing or rationalizing his detachment. Over time, this erodes her confidence and emotional stability, leaving her feeling insecure and uncertain about the relationship. Final thoughts. When a man exhibits these behaviors, whether through a lack of genuine interest, manipulative compliments, avoidance of responsibility, exploitation of generosity, or emotional inconsistency, the relationship becomes a space of imbalance and harm. These patterns undermine trust, erode self-worth, and create a dynamic where one person gives far more than they receive. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, authenticity, and shared responsibility. Recognizing exploitative behaviors is the first step toward breaking free from toxic patterns and reclaiming emotional autonomy. Love should empower and nurture, not diminish. Always remember your worth and seek connections that honor and uplift you for who you truly are.